Good evening, everybody. We're just going to give it a couple of moments for everybody who signed up for this webinar to join the call before we get started. Hi, Farad. It's 4 minutes past.
Okay,
We've got
we'll
5
start
people on
now.
the call. Do we want to make a start? And if people
Ye-
join,
Yeah,
they
I think
can
that's probably best.
interject.
Indeed.
So I'll hand over to you now.
Okay, before we start, just a moment for housekeeping. Please note that this event will be recorded and will be uploaded publicly on YouTube for the benefit of others. And due to the number of attendees at the session, all microphones and video of viewers will be turned off. To ask questions, please use the question and answer function within Zoom. We will endeavour to answer the majority of questions during the session, and any unanswered questions will be published on the frequently asked questions page on the Your Voice page. Can I also request that if you do leave a question on the question and answer function, that you state which section you're referring to. That will make it easier for us to respond. We also retain the right to remove any participants during the session who post materials that contain potentially offensive and discriminatory content. We do not accept obscenities or insults, and posting of such materials will also result in removal from the session. And for any other inquiries, please contact the project team on that via that email address. So just as an introduction, my name's Farhad. I'm the project lead for Kirklees. I'll be doing part of this presentation, and I'll also be answering questions you have for sections A to D Finn, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Finn Campbell. I'm the Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds project lead for Leeds City Council. I'll be covering sections E and F within the Leeds highways and taking any questions on those as well.
We also have Marcel. He's the lead highway engineer for M2D2L. He'll be providing highways engineering support for technical questions. Marcel, you don't have to say anything, but do you want to just give a wave so people know who you are? There you are. We also have Michael. He'll be providing technical support. Again, you don't have to say anything, but do you want to give a wave so people know who you are? There we are. Okay. So without any further ado, we're going to first start with the presentation for Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds. We'll start off with the objectives of the session. Then we'll run through the scheme background. Then we'll do an overview of the various sections A to F. Because there's a lot of plans, we'll generally talk about the changes since the previous consultation. Then hopefully at the end, that'll leave 30 minutes for questions. So objectives of this session. Well, the presentation objective will provide an overview of the M2D2L, focusing on changes since the previous consultation. For questions and answers objective, that'll be an opportunity for you to ask on any element of the scheme. The plans are downloadable from the Your Voice consultation page, and I'm hoping that you've already downloaded and viewed the plans. In terms of the scheme background, funding, it's a £13 million transport scheme. 12.5 million will be from the West Yorkshire Plus Transport Fund. 500,000 Section 106 funding. The scheme is funded through a successful financial settlement to the West Yorkshire Combined Authority from central government. The scheme is not funded through locally raised revenue such as council tax. In terms of milestones, we had the first round of consultation in autumn 2020. We're now at the second round of consultation. That will last till the 7th of December. We'll then submit the full business case July 2022, and construction will start late 2022 and run till 2024. So as I mentioned before, in 2020, we had an extensive consultation period. This lasted over 10 weeks, which included 7,182 visits to the engagement website and 363 online surveys completed. We have listened to your views and amended the designs where feasible. And a take home from the 2020 consultation is that a greater percentage of respondents supported or were in agreement with the proposals than in disagreement. So the question you'd ask now is, why are we going for consultation again? So there's been new national cycle guidance in the form of LTM 120, which has been enacted since the previous consultation. And so drawings have been updated to account for the new guidance. We've also taken into consideration 2020 consultation feedback as previously stated. So how can you take part in this consultation? Well, by attending this event, you're already taking part. We also urge you to complete our online questionnaire on the project webpage. Alternatively, you can complete the printable version of the survey and return to the free post address. We also urge you to share the consultation with friends, neighbours, or local stakeholders. How will we use your feedback? Well, your feedback will help us inform the design moving forward. And so it's key to let us know what you think we have done well and what you're not so happy about. So this is just a scheme overview. As you can see, the scheme is broken down into different sections. Sections A to D are within the Kirklees boundary. Section E and F is within the Leeds City Council boundary. For section A, that's Mirfield to Ravensthorpe. The main issues were that the A644 Huddersfield Road is not currently an attractive route for walking and cycling. Ravensthorpe Gyratory is particularly difficult to traverse for those on a bicycle. And also the Station Road, Huddersfield Road junction is inefficient, causing significant delays to general traffic, buses and pedestrians. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's actually 18 drawings for this. So I'm not going to go over all the drawings. Hopefully you've already downloaded it and had a look at it. So I'm just going to go over the key changes since the previous consultation. So one thing you stated was, have you considered the latest cycle design guidance in the form of LTM 120? Our response is, we've adhered to the guidance now where possible and now included light segregation on mandatory cycle lanes. Well, what do we mean by light segregation? That's the use of physical objects intermittently placed alongside a cycle lane marking to give additional protection from motorized traffic. Where will we place the light segregation? We've proposed we're going to place it at mandatory cycle lanes. This includes eastbound cycle lane between Row Road and Church Lane, eastbound cycle lane between Walker Street and Jessamine Street, westbound cycle lane between Trinity Street and Mirfield Cricket Club, and westbound cycle lane between Fir Parade and Armitage Street. So what does light segregation actually look like? So at the bottom right hand of your screen, I've included images of armadillos, and that's most likely what the light segregation will look like. Also, 76% of you supported car park restrictions 24 hours a day on mandatory cycle lanes, which was the feedback we got from the previous consultation. So as a result, we will make mandatory cycle lanes operational 24/7 to ensure parking restrictions are operational at these locations 24 hours a day. So for Station Road, Huddersfield Road Junction, you said, we need to rethink the junction layout on Station Road, Huddersfield Road Junction to give cyclists more priority. So as a response, we've provided additional lead-in cycle lane on Huddersfield Road for left turn cyclists, and on Station Road, we have provided an additional lead-in cycle lane. So if we now look at the drawings on the right-hand side of the screen, on drawing A3, which is the bottom one, we can see an additional lead left-hand lane advisory circle lane going into the advanced stop line. So there's a blue call out box there on A3 to the left of the drawing. That's the additional left-hand lane lead-in cycle lane we've included. And the other one on top of it was what we proposed originally. So now there's going to be two lead-in cycle lanes going to the advanced stop line. Then if we look at drawing A2 on Station Road, there's an advanced stop line. We've also proposed an advisory lead-in cycle lane going into the advanced stop line. Your second concern was that you're concerned about traffic build-up behind the bus at the new bus stop location at Station Road, Huddersfield Road Junction. So again, I'll refer to the drawing on A3. You can see where the location of the existing bus stop is. Within the previous consultation, we proposed to relocate that bus stop to drawing A2. So it's the other side of the junction at Station Road. And hopefully you can see it there where we said proposed relocated bus stop. Our answer to that is the frequency of buses at this stop is 2 per hour. And so it'll have a minimal impact on delay. A robust evidence base will be provided to demonstrate this within the business case. So another change is at Parkfield Crescent. So you said the one-way exit only and one-way entrance only system on Parkfield Crescent does not benefit residents living on Parkfield Crescent. Well, we've listened to what you've said, and we've removed the one-way exit only and one-way entrance only on Parkfield Crescent. And that's referring to drawings A7 and A8, which you can see at the bottom left-hand side of your screen. You also said at Jessamine Street, the build out at Jessamine Street is dangerous for cyclists, as it would make it harder for them to move into the main traffic lane. So on the top right hand side, the drawing A14 is the previous proposal. At Jessamine Street, you can see there's a build out there. So how we've responded at the bottom right hand corner, A14, is the new design. We've actually removed that build out as a direct response to your concerns. So what else did you say? You said there is no cycle line in Mirfield when traveling westbound between Park Lane and Fenton Street. So we've now included a westbound mandatory cycle lane with light segregation between Mirfield Cricket Club and Knoll Road by reducing the width of the proposed mandatory eastbound cycle lane to 1.5 meters. So what we've basically done here is we proposed the eastbound cycle lane was originally 2 meters. We've reduced that down to 1.5 meters, and that's enabled us to have a westbound cycle lane of 1.5 meters. So there's basically a 1.5 meter eastbound and a 1.5 meter westbound cycle lane now. I should add mandatory cycle lane. That means it'll have light segregation as well. So you also said Ravensthorpe Gyratory make things worse for cyclists who need to turn right. Well, we looked at Ravensthorpe Gyratory. There is very limited things we can do here, but due to the lack of space. But we have, however, added the cycle ramp for access to access the pedestrian crossings. Hopefully you can see that on drawing A17, and that should make it easier for cyclists to cross, to make a right turn and cross the junction. So we're going to move to section B now. So the main issues with section B was that slow speeds and unreliable journey times for buses and general traffic. Also, substandard or wrong type of pedestrian crossings in certain locations. So we decided to introduce a westbound bus lane between Thornville Street and Ravensthorpe, and also introduce an eastbound bus lane between Thornhill Road and Dewsbury, and install new and upgraded pedestrian crossings along the section. So your main comments for this during the 2020 consultation were there's a lack of cycling infrastructure to protect cyclists. Unfortunately, there's a lack of physical space to provide additional cycle lanes, so we haven't managed to do that. You also said, you asked if cyclists can use the bus lane. Our answer is cyclists can use the bus lanes, with the bus lanes providing cyclists a level of protection as they are separated from general traffic. I've provided a picture there on the right-hand side where you can see cyclists using the using a bus lane. And you can see how they're separated from general traffic. And finally, you also said that 60% of you stated you would not like the bus lane to be operational 24 hours a day. We've noted that the majority of you would not like to see the bus lane in operation 24 hours a day. However, we have asked this question again, accompanied by the fact that cyclists can use the bus lane. I think we haven't decided one way or another. We are the reason why we're asking the question again is because now we're given that additional bit of information, because I think there was a bit of confusion on whether a cyclist could use the bus lane or not. But now you've got that additional bit of information. We just want to see what the percentage of people that would like and wouldn't like the bus lane in operation 24/7 would be now. So these are the plans for section B. They are all basically the same. The only exception is drawing B2, which is on the left-hand side in the middle. We've included a cycle ramp to provide access to existing signalized crossing and onto Spen Valley Greenway, because while there was some consultation responses that said we need better connection to Spen Valley Greenway for cyclists. Given that there's limited highway space there, I think that was the only solution we could come up with. So for Dewsbury Town Centre, there's a lot going on. It's not just Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds. So I'd like to highlight a key objective of the area, which is to deliver the Dewsbury Blueprint, which is a 10-year plan for the regeneration of Dewsbury. The proposals help to develop the local walking and cycling network to a high standard and improve links between rail and bus stations and key areas within the town centre and beyond. So we can see the map on the right-hand side. As I said, there is a lot going on within Dewsbury Town Centre. So if we look at the, I guess the purple lines, first of all, that's the Transforming Cities Fund. That's a range of walking and cycling infrastructure improvements. The schemes are programmed to be built by March 2023. We also have completed schemes, so that's in black on the top left-hand corner, I'd say. That's Dewsbury Railway Access Scheme, which included wider pavements with improved servicing, better crossings, street lighting, things like that, and that was completed March 2021. We also have sustainable travel corridors. So that's the green lines, that's at the top of the map. It shows that cycle and pedestrian infrastructure improvements along the A638 Dewsbury to Clackeaton and Dewsbury, Batley, Childwell corridors. We also have active travel fund, that's improved cycling pedestrian facilities linking into Webster Hill and Mill Street West. We also have Dewsbury Generation Plan, that's plans to create a town park within the area. And finally, the M2D2L. So that's this scheme. And as you notice, there's 3 squares there, they're the red squares. And one thing to note is that for Webster Hill Junction, we are currently redesigning that junction now, so that won't be part of this consultation. However, that will be part of another consultation. We'll find another mechanism for you to provide your comments on that once we've designed it up. As I say, so these are the 2 plans which you'll be consulting on. Southgate is the scheme on the left-hand side. Nothing has changed, so I'm going to brush over that. The other one was the Leeds Road junction. Things have changed here. They've changed the fact that we've now included cycling facilities here in accordance to LTL 120. So we've tried including, well, we have included, I should say, a lead-in cycle lane on Leeds Road leading into an advanced stop line, and also a lead-in cycle lane giving access to Toucan crossings. This will help cyclists cross the junction in a much safer manner. Finally, we have Challenge Way at the Shawcross junction. So the main issues here were vehicular delays and queues at the Leeds Road Challenge Way junction. Junction is difficult for pedestrians due to multiple crossing stages. Planned developments in North Kirklees will increase travel demand, and the absence of cycling facilities at the junction. So the plan on the left-hand side is what we proposed in 2020, where you can see that we've banned certain turns, there's sort of line realignment and a new left turn slip. That is all staying the same. So what we have done now is the updated drawing. All we have done now is include cycling facilities. So that includes advanced stop lines, shared space at the corner of junction John Ormsby Way and Leeds Road, so cyclists can access the Toucan crossings. I realise there's a lot going on there, but hopefully you've already downloaded this and viewed it. And if not, I'd urge you to do so and view it at your leisure. So now we'll move on to Leeds extent. So I'll pass it over to Finn. And Finn, can you let me know when to change the slide?
Yes, please. Thanks, Farad. Hi, everybody. Section E is focused in and around Tingley Interchange. We had general support for all the proposals we consulted on last year, which included a northbound bus lane, a southbound bus lane, and a segregated cycle track between the White Road Centre and Capitol Park. As the schemes developed over the last year, the funding pressures have become ever so tight, and we had to undertake a prioritisation exercise. So we're only bringing forward the southbound bus lane at this moment in time. We are exploring further opportunities for funding of the other elements as there was public support for these, and we are exploring how we can bring them forward as soon as possible as well. One of the questions we had with regards to the southbound bus lane was the concern with regards to a loss of the traffic lane. And what I just wanted to make clear, and this is the same as the proposals last year, is what we're proposing is widening of the carriageway in this location. So the 2 lanes for general traffic will be retained on this occasion, creating a new southbound bus lane that will be segregated with a segregated bus lane at the Topcliffe Lane junction itself. Next slide, please, Farad. So section F is looking between the White Rose along Dewsbury Road itself towards Leeds city centre. It currently has a lot of main issues, so it's a wide road dominated by high traffic flows and congestions. A lot of cyclists have to mix with general traffic, which isn't safe, and buses running along the corridor. are delayed quite frequently, and I think there's about 20 buses an hour in each direction. So it's substantial delays to quite a lot of public transport users as well. We're proposing a one-way segregated cycle lane that will connect into the City Connect free proposals on Dewsbury Road that opened last month. This will connect from the Tommy Was junction through the junction itself down to the White Rose Centre. And we're also proposing an inbound bus lane and an outbound bus lane, and that will involve reallocation of the road space away from general traffic towards buses and taxis for that. There's more benefits for walking and cycling, and obviously journey time savings for bus users as well. Next slide, please, Farad. So the Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds proposals are part of a range of proposals we're bringing forward within the South Leeds area that are very much interlinked, and when completed, combined, will really improve the travel experience within this area. So we're also consulting at this moment in time on the A6110 Outer Ring Roads Improvements consultation. That's live until the 5th of December, and that's looking at providing segregated cycle links as well, connecting into the Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds proposals and City Connect free on Elland Road as well. It's also looking at bus improvements as well. So that consultation's live, and I would ask if you're interested in Mirfield to Dewsbury to Leeds to go and have a look at those proposals and provide your feedback on those too. Next slide, please, Farad. And so we're going to, with section F, I'm going to work in a west to east direction, starting at the White Rose, working the way into Leeds city centre. So we're going to focus on the section at Ring Road at this moment in time. The proposals have remained largely the same. We're proposing a 2-metre wide unidirectional segregated cycle track, bus stop bypasses and parking bays for local residents. When we last consulted on this, we had an option to further extend the bus lane back to the railway line bridge at the junction with Cardinal Avenue. There was general public support for this, and we've gone away and done the modelling, and we're now adopting that feedback. I'm going to start the bus lane at the bus stop that's just underneath the railway line, and that will run inbound to the Tommy Was junction itself. Next slide, please. So moving east, we're now looking at the Ring Road, Dewsbury Road junction. During the consultation last year, there was feedback that the Dewsbury Road junction between the Ring Road actually had more of an impact on traffic and caused delays than the Tommy Was junction itself. There was impacts with lanes merging together, and that there was an opportunity for better management of this location. So we've gone away and we've developed an option, which we call an option 1, that signalizes the movements. This will allow the inbound lanes to merge better, and that will all be signalized, controlled, providing safe signalized crossings for pedestrians and cyclists as well. What this option does do, it does ban the right turn movement out of Ring Road onto Dewsbury Road South. A recent traffic count only identified 40 trips over a 12-hour period doing that movement. So it's considerable a low movement in the grand scheme of things. We're also wanting feedback on option 2, which was similar to the design we consulted on last year. It retains all traffic movements at the junction, and it provides some signalised crossing for pedestrians and cyclists. We'd welcome feedback on that, and if there's a preference on the 2 options at this location. Next slide, please, Farad. So the Tommy Was junction itself, during the 2020 consultation, there was feedback that the safety of cyclists hadn't been considered through the junction, and that we should go away and revisit this. I think we've radically changed the junction design at this location, providing segregated cycle crossings on all arms at the junction, and which better tie into City Connect 3, the Dewsbury Road proposals as well. We've managed to do this without affecting the operation of the junction itself. In terms of traffic lanes, the vast majority of the junction will remain as it is at this moment in time. There's only one change on Old Lane, where the 2 lanes will be merged into 1 lane. Another question was with regards to the technology and the signals at the junction. So as part of this scheme, we will be investing in new signals that can operate and respond better to the demand and the vehicle flows throughout the day, making it easier for people to travel through the junction. Next slide, please, Farad. So section F, and this is the last sort of stretch from Tommy Wars to Woodbound Place. So this is the outbound bus lane that we proposed, and this is reallocation of the road space, conversion of the inside running lane into a bus lane between Tommy Wars and Woodbound Place. There was feedback that it would create more congestion if it was reduced to 1 lane. The impact on this is that there may be a marginal impact on general traffic, but there's considerable bus journey time savings through the implementation of this, especially at peak times, and therefore we're carrying on with the proposals as previously planned. We are looking to provide right turn pockets where feasible as part of the design process. Next slide, please. That brings us to the end of the presentation from Farad and myself. We're now just going to have a question and answer session. I think there's been some questions submitted in advance of the meeting, which we're able to pick up some, I believe, Farad, and some might require a more detailed response. And I don't know if there's been any questions in the Q&A whilst we've been presenting.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Do you want to start with the questions that you've had in advance, and then I'll...
Yes. I think in relation to A9, this is, there was a question with regards to the cycle lane ending before the off-road cycle path at Ravensthorpe. Is there any particular reason for that?
Oh, okay, yes. So with this one, we will undertake a road safety audit at the next design phase. So if we deem that as a potential hazard, that will be flagged up, and then we will amend the design appropriately. But at the moment, I think there is an advisory cycle lane there at the moment, which runs close to the turn anyway. So it's all we're doing now is proposing an additional cycle lane on the other side, and I believe both of them are going to be mandatory. But as I say, if that is deemed a safety concern, it will be flagged up at the next design stage.
Thanks, Farad. And then what exactly is the phrase meant by accommodating vehicle crossovers?
Okay, so that is, I believe, on section A, and it is around Parkfield Crescent, if I remember correctly. So along there are parking bays. There are also access to drives. So we had to make the cycle lane advisory so people could still access their drives, but also we weren't removing the parking bays, so they still will be active. And I believe there was a follow-up question with that in terms of how will you regulate sort of parking restrictions along there. Well, there are, because there's a lot of drives there, you hope that someone wouldn't park in front of the drive of someone else's drive, but also if someone were to park in on the other side of the parking bay, you'd essentially be blocking someone in the parking bay anyway. So you'd hope common sense would deter somebody from doing it, parking on the cycle lane. But I take the point that there might be little small areas where people might want to park. So we will look at that at the design moving forward. And if we find that there is opportunity for people to park and it creates a hazard, for cyclists or vehicles, then we will make slight amendments.
Okay. Were there any other questions you were going to pick up?
Do not. Was there any other questions from Michael? Is there any questions from your side?
Yes,
Q&A?
in the Q&A, Fred Ross says that he submitted 9 questions by email on the 17th of November and asks if we have answers to them already or not yet.
I think we've touched on a couple of them there, Farad and I. I think some of them require a much detailed response, and we'll look back to give you a detailed answer on those, Fred, within the next week.
Okay. And the final one is from Jonathan, who asks if we will be using the colored surfacing to highlight the cycle routes at junctions where no light segregation is possible to be used, as it is done on the Leeds Bradford cycle superhighway.
We'll be certainly looking to make a distinction with the advisory cycle lane in terms of the colour, so people are aware that that is a cycle lane.
Yeah, I think in Leeds we would be looking at the junctions to use coloured surfacing. And Jonathan, I don't know if you've been along Dewsbury Road. The recently completed City Connect free works on there do have coloured cycle lanes across the junctions to notify other road users that there is a cycle lane there and that they need to be aware of that at those particular points.
Yeah, so Fred says that he's happy that his outstanding questions will be considered and answered. Yeah, I think that concludes the questions from the Q&A.
Okay, so what I would do is just once again urge everyone to fill out the survey on the Your Voice page, and also there's qualitative sections there as well. So if there's any sort of further questions you may have which we can't answer within this session, please feel free to leave your comments there and we will get back to you.
Okay. Hang on.
Okay.
Aubrey Cooper is concerned about the number of issues in the Mirfield area, and Parker Lane and the entrance to Blake Hall. Is an opportunity to make Parker one way. I'm not sure if I'm reading it right, but
an opportunity to make Parker Lane one way. What I would do say is that we will certainly take down that comment and we will look into it. Yeah, so Parker Lane, I'm aware where that is. That's next to Blake Hall Drive. Like anything, if anything were to be made one way, you'd have to model it and see what the actual potential benefits are. So it's not something I can just answer now.
But yeah, if we can take that away, Farad,
I think,
pick it up and
I think sorry, I should have followed on. Yeah, it's something that
right.
anything that we can't answer now, we will follow up on and come back with an answer.
And guys, there is another question. This time she's asking about the junction of Church Lane and the entrance and exit to the Greenway, which doesn't allow cyclists to cross and enter in a safe way. I think that's more asking you to comment on possible solutions.
On Church Lane, we are proposing a zebra crossing which will help people cross Church Lane and enter onto Calder Valley Green Way. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna put an answer on the Your Voice website as well after the question has been clarified. At the moment, that's all of the questions that we have here.
Okay. I think we can give it another minute, see if a question pops up. If not, potentially end the session early if there's no further questions.
There is another question.
Okay, yeah.
It's about the zebra crossing that you mentioned. I think Aubrey is doubting if zebra is for cyclists.
It's not put upon cycling. It's for anybody who is wishing to cross the road there. But so is the question specifically access for cyclists into Calder Valley Green Way?
It is not specified, but I
guess if you write the question down, we'll have to get back to you because I'll have to look into that matter, and then yeah, I'll get back to the person.
And just to add to that, if you could send them to the Your Voice email address, we can look to that, and if you can submit it into that, and I'm sure Farad can provide a comprehensive response of it.
Yep. And again, Aubrey is asking if you're gonna be to let her know when you are in Mirfield next time, and she will gladly walk or cycle on this section with you or with us, depends who's gonna be cycling there.
Is that once it's built? So thank you very much for the offer.
Okay. I think we've finished the presentation for this evening. Thank you everybody for joining the call. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with the project team on the Your Voice webpage. I hope you found the session informative, and we'll look forward to hearing your thoughts in the consultation responses.
Okay, thank you everyone. Okay, see you.